looking back at, that pivot that you made from one extreme to an entirely different lifestyle, what do you think were the 3 steps? Like, I'd like to be able to allow people to say, step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah.
When you're talking your mindset, not necessarily your life, but your actual mindset and pivoting how you thought about things. I know you said you got a coach. What were, some of the other things that you did to kind of help, change your mind?
Yeah.
How you're viewing it?
Getting a coach and, that as part of the package of realizing that I wasn't going to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
That was the huge step 1, is that not only can I not do it by myself, but I don't have to.
Yes.
There is a ton of opportunity out there to ask for and accept help.
Yeah.
Which is very hard for an achiever.
Yeah. Yes.
It's very hard for a perfectionist. It's
Thank
very
you for
hard
saying
for
that.
a person who doesn't set boundaries well.
Yep.
To say, I'm going to spend time on me, focusing on me, and getting help with me.
Yep.
And so that was the first step. The second step was in working with my coach, realizing I didn't want things to be the way they were. When I started working with her, I wanted things to be exactly the way they were, but better. Right? Because my mindset was in concrete, so fixed on, well, I already work 80 to 100 hours a week. I can't untangle from that. That's the me. Who am I without work? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so realizing that I didn't actually want to be this person and this way.
Yeah.
And that I had a choice in deciding who I wanted to be when I grew up, whenever that day may come. And then the third step was doing really small things to make those changes. And the very first thing that I did, which now it makes me laugh because I've created so much more flexibility in my life. But the very first thing that I did was a 15-minute daily assignment. That for the first 15 minutes, when my alarm went off, I would turn off my alarm and I would not look at my phone.
Okay.
And I put a book in my hands instead of a phone.
Okay.
And 15 minutes later, nothing had exploded.
Work
was fine. The world was fine. There was nothing terrible going on. And I recently said to somebody, what I realized was I wanted more, less.
More, less. Wait, explain that.
I was doing more all the time. I would get up, immediately work. If I took a break in the middle of the day, it was to read quickly because my book club was coming up, or it was to have lunch with somebody and run back because I needed to get stuff done, right? Busy. And what that 15 minutes in the morning gave me was less. There was no running around. There was no immediately turning my brain on to do and be there and be at and in work. And it made me crave more space in my life. And that after that 15-minute daily exercise, after a week, just 1 week, I said to my coach, I need more of that. I need more space in my life. I can't even figure out what I want to be when I grow up because all I do is work. I don't want to work all the time.
Yes.
And we kept setting small steps that worked for me, that I created, that gave me more space. I started saying no to projects at work. I started not raising my hand. I gave myself a challenge to write down everything I was doing as I was doing it that wasn't actually my job. I filled up a page in half a day.
Wow.
And I stopped raising my hand deliberately. I still was saying yes to most of the stuff I was asked to do.
Okay.
But as time went on and I realized not raising my hand was not detrimental to my career and was opening space on my work calendar, I had a conversation with my boss. Beautiful. Heart pounding, telling him, I'm going to stop raising my hand. I'm doing too much. I can't continue at this pace. It's not sustainable. I'd like to just be an HR professional. And he said, congratulations. I was going to let you work as much as you wanted to work. You're contributing all over the place. It's great for the organization. If you're not up for it anymore, congratulations. Just go do what he hired you to do.
What a great boss.
He's a great boss. Such a great boss.
You don't see that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
High five.
And even that was an adjustment, right? There was like something came up the next week. I didn't raise my hand. The call was over and there was a new project formed without me. And he called me and he said, did I push you out? Did I offend you? I feel like you might have gotten slighted in this project. And I said, no, this is what it looks like when I don't raise my hand. He said, oh, I get it now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it kind of gives me the chills just thinking about that adjustment and the almost awkward silence that was there, but like not there. Like people might not have noticed, but it was there for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. While you're talking, I'm relating a lot. I work for myself though.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on the difference between who you were at that point,
Mm-hmm.
workaholic, people pleaser, always doing all of the things, and what I would describe myself as is just a hustler. Like I just freaking love working. You're saying like, you work and then when you have time off, you're still finding reasons to work. And then first thing in the, but I enjoy it. Is there something that I'm missing? Is what you're talking about available to every person? Or do you think that there's some breeds of people that are just more so just like that run? Or am I running from something? Am I like fearful of something? What do you think? Like I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder if this is something that I'm dealing with and I am camouflaging it as something else.
I'll say it depends, right? Because not a therapist, just a coach.
Yeah, just your opinion. I was asking your opinion.
There was a long time in my career where I loved the hustle. And I still love being able to look back on my HR career and point to all of the things I did and achieved and the impact that I made on individual people, on the company. And now that I run my own business, while I work fewer hours, I freaking love work. I love it.
Yes.
And I could spend all day doing it.
Yeah.
The important piece for me is choice. It's choice. If you're choosing your work and you're choosing when you see friends or when you spend time with family or whether you have a dog or a cat or a fish, if you feel like you're living in choice, it's really powerful. Beautiful. Where I had gotten to was that I no longer felt like I was choosing this. I went through this trajectory up where I felt like I was choosing to work. I was choosing to raise my hand. I was choosing to make more impact and do more work and have clients on the side. It all felt like choice until it hit this tipping point where I didn't feel like I could make plans with people because I didn't know when I'd get off work. I didn't feel like I could say no if somebody asked me to do something because of course I would do it. I did all the things. I didn't feel like I could just not raise my hand and not be thought of or called lazy. So it's the control and the choice.
Okay.
Now, if I get up in the morning and I have commitments to other people, I always uphold those. But if I have the choice of I can sit and work on design all day and spend 2 hours on LinkedIn engaging with people, or I can sit and read a book, I probably will choose the work because I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I have the choice.
Beautiful.
And it was the loss of the feeling of choice. And I say feeling because that's an important piece. I always had choice.
Okay.
I never took it.
Got it.
I always made the choice that I thought was going to serve other people.
Beautiful.
And now I make the choice that's going to serve me so that I can best serve other people.
Beautiful. I so understand that. And I can relate to both. So I think I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
So,
you look happy.
Yeah. So to kind of explain for those who are on both sides here. So yes, I do sometimes feel as if I can't make plans for the weekend because I'm worried that like something and I hesitate to make plans too far ahead because I'm worried about that. However, I have been working on that, but definitively, yes, I have had and do still have that hesitation of like not wanting to. One. So that's a negative. However, my positive to go along with everything you just taught us is I one of the things that I insisted on when I started working for myself is I wanted to have the ability to be able to wake up without an alarm clock. And I can definitively say that like 85% of the time, besides when I have a client early in the morning, I do not have an alarm. Just whenever my eyes open, and that's like my one thing. Like some people like yoga, some people like, reading, whatever. Like my one thing that I was really excited about was not having an alarm. Now that doesn't mean that I sleep until 10. That just means that whenever my body is done sleeping, it wakes up. And it feels so good to be at a point now where that is something that I have in my life that is a choice that I made. And that is now, impacting my life in a positive way for me.
Yeah. So powerful.
Yes, I so appreciate you breaking that down for us and for me.
Yeah.
And I can totally relate to that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, I want to ask, as far as, the journey that you've been on, I'm sure you've read a ton of different books, and I love hearing recommendations. Do you have any recommendations of books that you've kind of fallen on over the years that you could give to us?
Yeah. There are 3 books that come to mind. One is The Gifts of Imperfection, which is a Brené Brown book. It's one of her earlier books, and she just re-released it with some extra workbook kinds of things. And I can live in that book.
Really?
It is, for those who may not know, Brené Brown talks about vulnerability and shame. And she speaks directly to perfectionists, directly to workaholics, directly to people pleasers and apologizers and people who can't set boundaries. She's been there. And The Gifts of Imperfection walks you through all of the different types of ways that we try to be people pleasers, that we try to make things exactly perfect, and walks you through different ways to think about those aspects and questions to ask yourself and journaling to do and reflecting to do. And it's just such a great opportunity to recognize yourself in a way that you wouldn't if you were just walking through life.
Got it.
So that's one. I also love Jenny Lawson. I don't know if you know her. She writes blogs actually and has turned some of them into books. And she has had depression and anxiety her whole life and is absolutely hilarious about it and also heart-wrenching. So one of her books, Furiously Happy, is one of my absolute favorite reads. It's just so real and raw. And it's like you're sitting in the room with her, hearing her tell her story.
Wow.
And even if you haven't dealt with severe anxiety or depression, you get it. You get her because she talks about real life.
Wow.
And then the third book that really was life-changing for me was Shonda Rhimes wrote a book called The Year of Yes. where she's an introvert, and as am I, although I don't come across as one. She's an introvert, and she's, if you don't know, the creator of Grey's Anatomy and other Scandal, and
Yes, her name is on all of those. Thank you for saying that, because I did not.
Shondaland is her company.
Absolutely.
And she wrote this book called The Year of Yes. And if you get to listen to it on audiobook, it's even better.
Okay.
And she decided that for the entire year, she would say yes to everything she was invited to, because her natural instinct was to say no. Her way of being was, I don't want to do that. I want to stay at home.
Okay.
And she decided to have a year where she said yes to everything she was invited to. She went to the Kennedy Center Honors. She went to all the award shows. She had lunches and dinners and meetings with all kinds of people who she normally would have said no to.
Okay.
And her lesson, not to give away the ending here, but her lesson was that she gets to choose, that she doesn't have to default to no. Okay. She doesn't have to push herself to yes, that she gets to choose. And for me, I read it in 2019 when I was recovering from my broken arms, broken shoulders. And it was so impactful for me to hear her say, as this very famous, very successful, very hardworking single parent, that she's choosing, she's making choices, and she's changing her own life and her own ways. Absolutely. And it stuck with me. And when I hired my own coach and started to make my own changes, it always stuck with me that I have a choice, that I can say yes, that I don't have to just protect. I can explore and try things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So good. I didn't know she had a book. I'm so glad you said that.
Yes.
I'm so glad you said that. I'll totally look that up on audio. I love audiobooks.
Yeah.
The best. Well, thank you for that.